Hi, so this is Louise Fletcher with This Painting Life, and today I have as my guest Georgina Noel, who is a life and mindset transformation coach who I first met a few months ago, and she's not kidding when she says she's a transformation coach, because my life has completely transformed. Even though I'm here in the dark and it looks like I'm in a dungeon, I do actually have quite a happy life now. Thanks to Georgina, everything has changed, and so I'm so happy that she agreed to be with me. So thank you, Georgina.
Oh, as if I could turn you down.
So I think my first question has to be, for everybody watching, what is a mindset and life transformation coach? What do you do?
Well, it's funny because I've always struggled to define what it is that I do. And I remember like business coaches kind of trying to get me to define, like, right, you need an elevator pitch. You need to be able to sum up what you do in 30 seconds. And I'm like, make people feel less shit. I don't know. And so
that's not really a tagline though, is it?
No, that's it. Although it seems to work, doesn't it? I'm doing all right for myself. So I guess that I feel like what I really do is I live my life in a way that feels to me limitless, hence the program that you did. Mm-hmm. I teach people and I remind people more than anything, I feel. I remind people that they get to do, be, and have whatever they want. And I also remind them that it's okay to want. Right. And that desire is not something to be ashamed or embarrassed of. And when I talk about desire, I don't just mean sexual desire. I mean desire in general. Like, what do you want for your life? How much money do you want to make? How do you want your body to look? What do you want your relationships to be like? I help people understand that you get to have everything that you want, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I get this thing but I can't have that thing. Right. And there has to be a compromise or a payoff. And so how would you define what I do? You've been through the process.
I was just thinking, I think one of the biggest things that you helped me with, or perhaps the biggest thing, is to understand that our thoughts create what happens to us. Mm-hmm. Which I had heard, and I'm sure lots of the artists watching this have heard that before. Our thoughts create our reality. But mm-hmm. I remember sitting across from you, and it's only about 10 weeks ago, telling you that I could not possibly run an art business because I was too busy with my existing business. And that felt to me like the realest thing.
It felt true, didn't it? It felt true. This is reality. This is an immovable object. And what was funny was it was almost like, it was like, come on then. It was like you'd laid down a gauntlet for me. And it's so funny because people do this to me because I play the big, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And then it's like people really want to argue for their limitations. They really want to prove me wrong. And I'm like, dude, you can try and prove me wrong as much as you want. And then that will remain true for you. But you can either argue for your limitations or you can argue for the opposite and argue for the fact that you get to have whatever you want. And it was so funny when you did that. I just felt I may have even done a little chuckle at the time because I was like, yes, someone's challenging me, bring it on. And I think my parents are right when they said I should have been a lawyer, because I'm so good at being able to see the other side of the coin. And so when someone lays down the gauntlet for me in that way of I physically can't see, it is a truth to me that I don't have enough time. It's so, like, I'm goosebumping right now because it's so fun and so exciting to me to help people understand that if that is their current reality, then the opposite is also available to them, but they're just looking at the wrong end of the stick. So you've probably seen me talk about this in live streams and stuff, and I maybe even spoken when we were coaching together, right? This idea that you are never given a problem, no matter how real it feels, you're never given the problem without also being gifted the solution at the exact same time. But because you're looking, it's like if you imagine it like a stick, and you've got one end of the stick and there's the problem and at the other end is the solution. If you're staring at the fucking problem, you're not available for this because you're not looking for it. And so the one simple reframe that I would offer anybody in this kind of situation is not like, where's my answer? How do I fix this? This is a problem I'm in. It's like, open yourself up to being available for the solution. And once you allow yourself to kind of go, I'm no longer contracted and in a place of feeling like I'm in a problem. I'm now in a situation and in an energetic space where I am open and receptive to allowing the answer. It's exactly what happened to you. It happened like that.
Yeah. And I also realized, oh, I get it. By focusing on the problem, which I was focusing on this business I had that I didn't enjoy doing anymore, so I need to find another way to make a living. Mm-hmm. By focusing on that and trying to solve it, I came to realize through working with you that I was actually blocking the answer from coming, because like you say, I was too busy looking over here at this and what am I going to do and how am I going to solve it, and that I should be able to solve this. And then over here was the answer going, hello, hello, but I wasn't open to it until after. And when I became open to it was that evening of the 2-day retreat we were on, or that morning. And then I told you I had this massive panic attack. And when you say that's why people, that people cling to limitations, I think that's why. And I think this really applies to making art. People get really, I can't do bold paintings because I'm not good enough. Really, they're frightened of that panic attack of actually realizing, yes, I could. And that's really scary because I'm comfortable over here in my little whatever I'm doing here. And
it's almost like people think that by finally like growing a pair and going, fuck this. I hope your people know I swear. I hope they're okay.
What they do now.
Well, it is what it is, guys. I do exactly what I say on the tin. There is nothing hidden here, my friends. It's just words. It's just energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you don't like it, switch off now because there will be more. When people just say fuck this and grab life by the balls and then run with it and suddenly realize that everything they've been telling themselves, all the limitations were just lies. Suddenly life opens up and we might think that that's what we want, but when it happens, it feels scary, as you found out. And I think people are often surprised by my reaction when they say to me, I've had a panic attack. And I think people expect me to go, oh, I'm so sorry. And actually what my initial reaction is, yes, we've cracked something open. Like something's changed. You wouldn't be panicking if you were still in your comfort zone. You only panic because you've stretched. Yeah. And that's a really good thing. And it's only when we fully understand that a panic attack feels like we're dying. I know this. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. Anyone who's looked into anything that I've done over any period of time will see that I come from a background of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, losing a friend to suicide. Like, I've been to some dark places. I'm not just like this fluffy candy floss person. Like, I feel deeply. I feel it all deeply, but I relish the depth of my emotions. And so if a panic attack is gifted to me, it doesn't feel nice and I ain't going to go, yay, panic attack. But when it's past and when I have the presence of mind to then be aware again, then I celebrate it. Because I'm like, whoa, like when I was sick, I was saying to you before, when I was sick with the flu and I can still hear it, I'm like, there's still residue of it living literally in my body. But I get so excited because even though I felt like crap, and I mean, I had the actual flu, I was sweating and shaking and hot and cold, and there were things coming out of my body that no one should ever have to experience. And yet there was still this part of me, I actually did a live stream from bed. There was still this part of me that was aware, like, oh, this is some kind of cellular upgrade. Like, your body is catching up with all the emotional and energetic work you've been doing. And on the, I get so excited. And then on the other side of this, it's going to be something fucking epic. And there has been, and there is. And it's just so exciting.
Yeah.
It gets to be how we perceive it. Even illness, you know, even pain, even things that hurt like a mofo. When we don't spiritually bypass yourself, allow yourself to feel the feelings. I never tell someone to not feel the feelings. I just say, don't be afraid of them. It's just, your body, the universe, spirit is not going to give you anything that you can't handle. It's all just preparing you for what you've asked for.
Yeah, which is perfect segue into, so I'm teaching this course at the moment, which a lot of the people watching are not taking the course, but the course is to help people break out of limitations in art and find their own voice and find joy in making art. And a lot of the participants, I mean, they're doing really well, but they come up upon whatever their particular limitation is, they're being confronted with it now during this course. Excellent. And it's I've just been saying to somebody by email, if you got to that point where you're feeling really stuck and scared about what you're doing in your art, that's what you used to call the breakdown before the breakthrough. It's like, that's good, because you're not stuck anymore in where you were. If you're in that scary, anxious place, that means you've gone somewhere new, which means it will be good when you get to where you're going. It just feels really uncomfortable on your way there.
And people are always asking for change. This is one of the questions that I get people to ask themselves when they're in that place of like, I don't know why this is happening. I'll say to them, well, what have you been asking for? And when people are really honest with themselves, actually your little brain go, about something there. Good to know what came up for you there as well. But you know, for your lovely people, whether they're in your course or whether they're just on your mailing list and they're looking to work with you at a higher level or whatever it is, or maybe they're just there because they love you and they want to buy your artwork or whatever, right? It's like when you're in that moment of breakdown before the breakthrough, you get to celebrate it. You get to be in the energy of celebration. And when you think about, what have I been asking for? And if this is preparing me for that, what is my current reality a manifestation of? What have I been asking for? So when I look around me, whatever good things and bad things I am experiencing, everything in my current reality is a manifestation of a previous thought or a previous asking, a previous desire. So what is it? And a lot of people have been asking for change. They've been asking for momentum. They've been asking for, more money. In my case, a lot of people, it's about more money because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. And so you've got to think about, well, if I'm somebody who wants to make a different kind of art, if I'm somebody who wants to be bolder and I've been asking for inspiration, motivation, focus, clarity, to make more sales of my artwork, to be bolder and brighter and braver in my artwork, then maybe, definitely, everything you're experiencing in this moment is what you've asked for. But you just have to go through this this up-leveling process, this energetic shift, this mindset shift. And if you allow yourself to just breathe through it, like, when you go to yoga or something and they get you to stretch and it's like, breathe. And when you breathe, you get that relief and you're like, I can go a little bit further now. Right. That's what it is. The growth process. No one promised it was ever going to be easy and pain-free, but it's depending on how you perceive it. That's what's going to cause you more pain. It's all about your head is what's causing you the pain, not the process. Is that all making sense?
If you're at that stage and you're feeling like, I asked for my art, let's just take that example. I asked for my art to be bigger and bolder, and now I'm uncomfortable. It's not working the way I wanted. These paintings don't look like I imagined. How do you block yourself from going any further? How do we block ourselves inadvertently from getting what we asked for, and how do we allow ourselves to get what we asked for? So I'm assuming what you're saying is we allow ourselves by just allowing ourselves to experience it without fighting. But is it possible to block ourselves and keep ourselves stuck in the same way?
If you continue to believe that a block exists, then yes. So what's interesting about even like so we all know, hopefully some of your people have seen something to do with me or heard you talk about our work, so they'll understand. I talk about energy a lot. And right. The energy of the question, how do we block ourselves, is almost like inviting in the block. If you instead, so it's like, okay, how do I break this down? So You get more of what you focus on. Really simple. We all know this, right? Mindset 101. If I'm looking, I use weight loss as an example quite a lot, because I feel like it's just really, a lot of people have struggled with their weight at some point, especially a lot of women. So I apologize if this doesn't resonate with you, but bear with me. So if you say, if I want to, hey, you look gorgeous, how dare you talk about my friend that way. So it's either, a lot of people look at it like, I want to lose weight. And so it's like, they're looking at, they're telling themselves they're fat, basically. But instead, if they say, I want to be leaner and more healthy, and I want to be vibrant and have lots of vitality and energy and be motivated, you can see that the energy of even talking about those things is different. So in this example of the artwork, I want to be braver, bolder, brighter, make bold choices. I want to be really courageous and let my true self, I want to unleash my true self. It's very different energy. There's like a drive and a passion, a fire there. When we're looking at, what do I need to do in order to be that person? What do I need to do? How do I make this happen for myself? It's almost like a box of do you see what I mean? Like, I feel like that's like a solid cube, like an actual physical thing. Whereas when I talk about what I'm becoming, what I am becoming, what I am choosing into, the person that I am stepping up into, it's got this feeling of momentum. But when we're talking about the block itself, it's just like stagnant, still, stationary.
Yeah.
And so it's like, focus instead. There's nothing wrong with saying, I've got a block. But in saying, I've got a block, you're manifesting a block where there might not be one. And very often, if our thoughts carry a vibration, which they do, obviously, then if you're perceiving yourself to have a block, I'd be asking people questions like, okay, so how does it serve you to hold yourself back in this way? Why would it feel safe for you to take that next step? What do you feel would be the aligned action for you to take? What would that person who's already creating the work that you see in your mind, what was the next step they took? Because bear in mind, they've been you at some point.
Right.
You know, so it's like always referencing what is coming rather than the need to look back. Obviously, some of the work that I do is around clearing past trauma and all that kind of stuff. And I think people get a bit confused sometimes. It's like, well, you talk about inner child, you talk about healing past trauma. And I'm like, yeah, because sometimes what the things that we keep smacking our head on, we can't seem to clear on our own, and we just need someone else. Well, healers, shamans, doctors, you know, coaches, mentors, teachers, like in general, they all exist. We all exist. You are one of them. It's like we all exist in order to help facilitate other people's growth. So there's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed about or feel like, oh, I'm not good enough if I can't do it on my own. I had to ask for help. It's not really my work if I have to ask for help.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's just another way that your subconscious is keeping you trapped and limited and stuck where you are. It's just trying to keep you safe. Your subconscious is a survival mechanism. It's bajillions of years old. Like, it's really, really good at taking care of you and protecting you. But the key to growth and the key to growing in a way that doesn't feel so fucking painful is to just remember that you are always in control of creating your reality, and you are always safe. And safety is something that is cultivated from within you. It's not something that you can buy. It's not something that you can make. It has to be generated from within. You have to believe you're safe. And then growth kind of becomes this thing that just gets to be fun and playful rather than terrifying.
And that describes the art making process perfectly as well, because where I was stuck a few years ago was I wanted to impress other people or myself. I wanted to make a piece of art. Every time I went to paint, I wanted to make a painting that everybody would think was good, everybody, and that I thought was amazing. So I never had the opportunity to play and experiment and grow because I have to do a good painting. And that's where people get stuck. And some of it is prior trauma or just mini traumas, as you call them. It's the way you react when a spouse says they don't like your painting, or the way you react when your friend says, oh, I used to like it better when you drew horses or whatever, and I don't like it now you're doing this abstract stuff. And that holds you back. And then this desire to impress somebody means that you never play and experiment and grow. And all the good stuff comes when you let go of the limiting beliefs and the need to impress someone and need to get a result, all of that. And I'm wondering, that's kind of sounds like what you're saying about the way we live our lives as well. If we stay focused on, if I say I want to, like now I've done this course, then I decide in my mind, I've got an idea of exactly what to do next, and I can see 5 years into the future, and I've got this plan, I'm going to follow it, But I don't allow myself to try new things or just see what happens, or then I've set myself on a path where I don't have any opportunity to learn all the other amazing things that might be going to happen.
It's about trust as well. It's about trusting yourself to know that when you surrender, the reason I have surrender tattooed on my hand, as we all know, is because I am a recovering control freak. And so the need to control, for a start, what you're saying about the art and the life growth, how you are in one area of your life is how you are in all areas of your life. And we know this, it's a cliche, but that's because it's true. So this is why I love what I do so much, because I am a meaning making machine. I see meaning in everything, every decision, every feeling, every choice I make in one area of my life. I'm like, oh my God, that's how I've been stifling my income, or, oh, that's why I had that argument with that person, or no way. And it's exactly the same. Like if you're finding that you're trying to control the outcome of your art, it's like, well, where else in your life are you trying to control the outcome? Where else in your life are you so attached to someone else needing to be a certain way, or a life situation needing to turn out a certain way and get a specific result? And because you're so attached to that, you're not actually allowing them the space to grow either. And the same is true with finances. Where am I trying to control where the money comes from and how it comes? And actually, maybe that control is like throttling the flow. And of course it is. As soon as you go, it's like when I sold Limitless, it was so easy because I just decided it was done. And I just kept leaning into that future self who was sitting there on that first training day, like, great, let's go, guys, with a sellout and a waiting list. And we were good to go. And it was awesome because I decided that it was going to be. And I trusted myself and the universe, because, the universe always got your back. Woo woo. But it's like, when you just trust yourself, if you can't trust the universe, well, that's too woo woo for you. When you trust yourself and your intuition, and like I mentioned to you on the first day of that retreat, that knowing, and we all have it. Particularly women are really good at this. It's not just a female thing. I'm not being sexist here. Maybe I am, but I'm sorry. In my experience of what I've done, my limited experience, right, of men and women, I see in women this deep intuitive knowing that we have. And I am a woman, so it's easier.
Which gets dismissed a lot. It gets dismissed a lot
because we live in a very masculine world, right? So we're always trying to prove ourselves in this masculine, like divine masculine, and there's place for both. So it's about nurturing that divine feminine, nurturing our ability to receive and our ability to just be a bit, like open, and not try and control everything all the time, and not need someone else to say to us, wow, well done, you did a great job. And it to be the process to be enough for us, the journey to be enough, and just trust that we're always taken care of. Has there ever been a time where you genuinely ended up on the streets because you were so impoverished? Are you dead yet? No. Do you know what I mean? You've got this far, so you're probably going to be all right.
Yeah.
You're resourceful enough to have gotten this far, so can you just fucking trust yourselves? Like, that's it. That's all you need to know is, oh wait, I'm still alive. I still have access to the internet, a roof over my head. I can buy food. I have people who love me. Life is good. Maybe I just get to play with my art and take the fucking pressure off myself. Like, just enjoy it.
Well, something just happened today, and I thought of you because I've had an idea just over the last few days that I wanted to do a podcast, an art podcast, but I didn't want to take it on as a big something that's like another responsibility just for me, and it just would feel too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned through working with you and through practicing since to feel my intuition, what feels heavy, what feels light and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt heavy to take it on, but then it felt fun if I could do it with someone else. Then I thought, oh, if it was two of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought of the person I'd most like to do it with. I sent her a message, and I thought, well, she'll probably say no, but whatever. And then she wrote back and said, I really wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't want to do it on my own. So yeah, let's have a go. And it's like, I would have agonized over that for months before. I would have made a plan and written out a proposal and gone to her with like, these are all the episodes and here's what I think we should do. And this time it was just like, do you fancy doing this on Facebook? And she said yes. And now we're going to give it a go. And I just know it's going to be okay, because it will be. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
It'll be great, and it'll be fun, or it won't. And if it's not, we won't keep doing it. But it doesn't have to be this massive commitment, which it would have felt like to me before. And I think it's the same with painting. Let's say you just take a canvas and just do a really bold painting that's like nothing you've ever done before. You might not like doing it. You might say, oh, I always thought I wanted to do that, but now I've tried it. It's rubbish. It doesn't suit me at all. But you haven't lost anything. You can paint over it. It's like we get so heavy about something so insignificant, which brings me to a money thing, because one of the things some people will be thinking when I say that is, yeah, but it's fine for you if you can afford to use lots of paint. I can't afford to just throw paint around. It's expensive. So I have to be careful with it. I have to, and I used to be like this with paint too, because I'm not rolling in.
But there are other ways to be creative, right?
Yes, and most of
you don't have to be. I would say that if that's just, again, it's a bullshit limitation. So it's like, okay, these are my resources. These are my physical resources that I have right now. Is that going to stop me creating? It's like me saying, well, I'm only ever going to talk about mindset and talk about the stuff that, as you can see, this stuff lights me up, right? I'm like on fire when I talk about mindset. It's like it's my life force. If I decided that, because I didn't have clients, which luckily is not an issue, I'm just putting that to the universe, I have an abundance, thank you, and I would like it to continue so much. But, if in a place where, say, someone's starting a business, for example, and they don't have any clients, you have to get into the energy of being the person who has an abundance of clients already. What would you be creating then? So for somebody who's like, I don't have the resources, okay, fine. Maybe that is a current physical reality for you. So what? Are you going to let that stop you? It's look at the I am statements, look at the identity statements. Are you a creator? Are you an artist? Yes. Well, then create, bitch. It's that simple. And you
can cut up magazines and newspapers and make collages, and then
craft. Find some fabric. I don't know, like do something.
Yeah.
Go out and go to, I don't know, put a freaking shout out on Facebook and say, has anyone got any paint they're throwing out? Because I would love to use it. Go and get some tester pots of fucking Dulux. I don't know, do something.
Yeah.
Be resourceful. And rather than looking at the problem, say, okay, so right now, this is my physical reality. I would like it to be that I have an abundance of materials. People get caught up in the money. It's like, I have to have lots of money so I can buy lots of materials, and then I can be a successful artist. Well, you're telling me that there aren't people who have created things with one pencil and sold them for however much money? It's just, you might have a preferred way of creating, and maybe you can't afford those things right now, but that doesn't mean that you have to just cut your creativity off. I mean, that's never going to get you anywhere. Continue. This is what makes me laugh, about artists that I work with, and I mean laugh in terms of laughing with them. We laugh at ourselves. As you know, we laugh at ourselves. I'm not laughing at you. It's this idea that you forget you're creative, and so it's like you see yourself as an artist, and I can create art, but then it's like you get stuck in the idea that you've got a problem, and it's like, but you're a creator. You pull a magic out of the air. You start with nothing and you create fucking magic. I'm not an artist. Blows my mind. It's incredible what you guys do. And it's like, how can you not see that if you can pull a painting out of thin air, you can pull an answer out of thin air. Like, you've just got to be open and receptive to receiving the inspiration. It's the same process. It's all about getting into receiving mode. That's it.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Just keep creating, even if it means that you're doodling on a post-it note with a pencil. Do something. Keep that channel open, you know?
Yeah, that's so good. And so it brings me to this law of attraction thing, which this law of attraction thing.
Oh, I'm not interested in talking about that at all.
Which I'm still learning about. And, you know, I still have my little skeptical parts of my brain, but I have seen the effects. And so before I talk about the effects, I want you, if you could, just to explain to people what the law of attraction is. That's not difficult. A simple explanation of what the law of attraction is and how it might relate to making art or working as an artist.
Okay, so firstly, law of attraction is whatever you see in your current physical reality, everything around you, you are currently a vibrational match for. So let's just understand that everything has a vibration. Even if you're not woo-woo, it's just science, isn't it? We all know this. Everything is just vibrating at, you know, solid things are vibrating differently to liquids. If you change the vibration of it by heating a liquid, it turns into a gas. Okay, we get this. This also means then that we are vibrational beings, and whether or not you like it, we are actually created 100% from energy. That's, again, it's just science, people. Get on board. So what happens if you think about, you know, those moments where you think about somebody and then you see them and or they phone you and it's like you're thinking about something and then it happens. And a lot of the time we're like, oh, that's a coincidence. I was just thinking about you. Or you'll think about something and, you know, again, you'll think about, oh, it'd be really lovely if I could do a podcast. You don't think about it again. And then suddenly the inspiration comes in. Oh, just message that person. That other person, by the way, has been thinking the exact same thoughts and they've manifested you reaching out to them because they were receptive. So,
right.
Are you seeing? Yeah, and I see I'm kind of losing you a bit here.
No, you're not.
You are always a vibrational match for everything that you see and that you are currently experiencing in your reality. And if you want to change what you're seeing, you simply have to change what you're thinking and how you feel. So think of yourself as a magnet. Yeah. The law of attraction is always at play. So if you're attracting shit, you're vibrating in a way that is attracting shit. And as soon as you take ownership of that and you raise your vibration and you start to get more joyful and you start to get more in flow and you start to release the resistance to your natural state, which is, by the way, well-being. When you start to release the resistance to that and you just let yourself flow and be joyful and light about life, more good stuff comes in. The only reason it ever stops is because we suddenly contract again and we go, oh, this is too good to be true. Yeah. And I know that the thing with the law of attraction is people watch The Secret or they read The Secret, if you've ever seen this book or this movie, and they go, right, so what I have to do then is sit in my house on my ass and think about the thing that I want. I want money.
Yeah.
Why aren't I rich yet? You've got to keep believing, but there is a little bit more work to it and people don't realize that because they've kind of been sold this lie.
Okay, so what is the extra work that's needed?
Well, it can be as simple as thinking about it and then picturing it and receiving it. If you don't have any, if you're not in any resistance around receiving it. For example, I'm not sure if I can really say this because I have some resistance around admitting this. Okay, I'll do it anyway. So when I am...
Oh no, what are you going to say?
But, you know, as I said, I'm not going to filter. So when I choose to feel sexy and desirable and just really fucking high vibe, and I am open to just inviting really positive attention in my life, I've noticed that men will respond to that, right? And I'll get people holding doors open for me, or people flirting with me, or complimenting me, and and it's all harmless. It's like, I have a boyfriend who I very much adore, but it's this lovely kind of light energy, and I seem to attract it when I allow myself to just feel lighter and more desirable, and when I've taken care of myself that day and I've treated myself like somebody who deserves and enjoys being seen, and you see it as well. This is the thing, is you're going to see it in other people, and you won't even realize it until this moment. You're going to start seeing it all the time now. Think about when there are certain people who you will meet, and you will feel their energy, whether you are aware of what's happening or not. Some people, when you're around them, they just make you feel better, right? They just light the room up when they walk in. You're like, they're here, yay! And it's like, woo! Aim to be that person, by the way. Just saying. And then there are some people who walk into a room and it feels like the fucking joy just got sucked down the drain, because they are such a vortex of despair. Right? Yeah. And so, again, no judgment. We are all where we are in our journey, but it's undeniable, it's palpable when people have an energetic resonance of some description that's really powerful. You'll notice there are certain people who you just can't do enough for. Yeah. Right? There'll be people in your life who just, for some reason, you want to treat them to coffee, you think about them, they pop a bit, you want to buy them a gift, you want to reach out and tell them how great they are, you want to be around them, yeah? And things like you'd give up your seat for them, just without you thinking, you'd be like, oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
And you don't feel like you're hard done by. And then there are other people who would come into that room and you'd be like, you wouldn't even notice that they needed a seat, because they're not actually vibrating at a level where the universe supports them. Is this making sense?
Yes, totally. And I was just thinking, I know that you were not always, as you said at the beginning, you didn't always feel this way, and that you had anxiety and depression. And so for those people who are listening, still thinking to themselves, well, it's okay for her because she seems really happy, she's got all together. But my life
is all I can say.
Don't spoil the illusion. But my life isn't like that, and I'm stuck with this art thing and it's making me miserable, or I'm stuck in a bad relationship, or I don't have any money, or whatever it is that's making that person out, or I'm depressed and life feels very bleak.
Yeah.
I've got somebody in my group who was just telling me she can't create at the moment because she feels depressed. So explain to people.
Firstly, that's bullshit, because darkness and the shadow breed the most fucking incredible artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting that out there. So if you're depressed and you're anxious and you're telling yourself, oh, because of this I can't create artwork, it's lies. You'll probably create the most profound and compelling work from that space if you allow yourself to do it. So just putting that out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I've always made my best paintings, or my most easy ones that come the easiest, are usually when I don't feel that great, which is, but I don't want to wish myself that. But to go back to the depressed, so when we first started working together and you said to me, well, you could choose to feel differently, I felt like I can't. I would love to be able to choose to feel differently, but this feeling is so overwhelming that I can't.
What changed for you? What made the switch flick for you? Because to be perfectly honest, it's such a long time ago for me, and I'm probably further along that journey because I've made it my life, right?
Yeah.
So it would be like you trying to teach me to paint from the beginning. You might not be the best person to teach me the basics, because you're way further along your journey.
Right.
So tell me, what was it? What flicked your switch? Because for me, in my head, it's the same answer. You get to choose. And this is the thing, is that even when I was rock fucking bottom, planning out my suicide notes, when I was that low, it was feeling something, feeling anything. My advice would be, without getting into the pain of their problem, because that's not helpful for anybody, if for me to kind of get in the well with you, I can't fucking help you out if I'm in the well as well. We're both fucked, yeah? So to throw you a rope, if you're at the bottom of the well right now, I would say you can't get to where this. You can't get to woohoo from I want to die. Yeah, you just can't. It's too much of a big leap. I actually did a live stream on this the other day. So instead of looking at, it's okay to aspire to be that joyful all the time and be like, wah, wah, but maybe there are some steps in between, you know, maybe that's okay. And maybe the next step up the emotional ladder from depression is getting frustrated with yourself. Ugh. You know, depression is like the absence of feeling. So if you can find a way to flick the switch to feel anything, despair, loneliness, anger, frustration, irritation, ooh, goosebumps, all of that has, do you see what I'm saying? Like vibration, depression is almost like flatlining. Yeah. So if you can get even a little beep 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 beep, even if it's like it really annoyed me, rather than allowing the annoyance to just stay there, be like, oh, I felt something. The thing that broke it for me was sadness. Was when I started to plan out my suicide notes, I got to a certain friend and I just burst out and wept, and it was the first thing I'd felt in fucking months. And in that weeping, I was like, oh, I felt like I'd like inhaled for the first time. It felt like someone slapped me around, thrown some ice water on me and gone, get your fucking shit together. This is bigger than you are. Your calling, your death would impact so many fucking lives. Imagine that.
Yeah.
All the people it makes me want to cry. All the people that I have helped in the last 6 years since doing all this stuff, like if I hadn't taken responsibility for my own shit and got the help I needed, then none of those people would have been helped. You wouldn't have been helped. The people you're now helping wouldn't have been helped. So own the fact that as much as you are the center of your own universe, this life is a fucking gift. So yes, it's like grasp onto that and see it as that rope and keep fucking climbing. Be determined enough and know that you deserve to be happy. You are worthy of joy. It is your fucking birthright to be happy and to like to live life as high as a fucking kite on life, because that's why you're here. Your purpose on this planet is to live in your joy. So you deserve it. You're worthy of it. I said way more than I thought I was going to say, but you know,
that's good.
Mama, what were you going to say?
Enough about me, now about you.
Yeah, enough about me. Now I could talk about myself all fucking day. You know.
Well, you are the interview subject, so that is the
answer. Yeah, it's all about me. Hopefully it helps someone else in the process.
I think that's what it was for me. It's just that realizing that, okay, thing A happened yesterday and I was fine. Thing A happened again today and I'm upset. So thing A cannot be the problem, even though it feels like it is.
And it's not about, this is the thing as well, that I think sometimes people, when they're in a real deep despair, not everybody, but I have come across people, and they're not my ideal clients, right? So everyone's different. Everyone's going to have a different way of digging themselves out of that hole. And I absolutely respect that. I just hope and pray for them that they do at least continue to be available for an answer to make itself known, whether that's me or you or whoever it is or whatever it is. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a TV program, maybe it's a beautiful piece of dew on a blade of grass that makes them fucking feel alive. Like whatever it is, I would say allow yourself to be available for feeling better, and then it will happen. I absolutely fucking guarantee it. If you are available for it, it will happen. I promise. Just keep having faith. But anyway, sorry, what were you saying? I just felt like I needed to give you a say there. I just want everyone to be really happy. Like, I might sound like really fucking tweel, like I want world peace, but I genuinely just, like, it makes me want to cry, because I do genuinely just have this love for people. Like, as much as I joke about being, you know, like, oh, people are a pain in the ass, you know, like I'll say things like that in absolute jest, because I am a human and I love the humans that I love, and everybody deserves to feel this good. You know, and your joy might not look like mine. You don't have to be fucking singing from the rooftops and like live streaming every day and crying in front of perfect strangers because you're just so fucking love with life. Like, it doesn't have to look like that for you, but at least make yourself available for whatever it does look like for you, and fucking hunt that shit down until it's yours. Like, it's available to everybody. Nobody, it's not like when we were born. I heard this yesterday on a podcast or something, and I can't remember where it comes from, but there's a book written, and the guy who wrote it said, like, it's not like when you're born, God has a stamp. I'm not even religious, but he said God, so we'll just go with it. And he doesn't have a stamp saying, you're worthy. You're worthy. Not so much. Okay, next, you're worthy. It's like everyone is born with that fucking stamp of worthiness on them, and we forget. We feel like we have to earn it somehow. We're like, I have to be good enough, or I have to do more or prove myself before I'm allowed to be fucking happy. And it's like, no, you just choose in any moment to see the best in it. And do I fall off the wagon? Fuck yeah. I'm still human. I'm not a fucking robot. But it's my purpose on this planet to live in my joy, to like follow what makes me happy. And right now that is preaching and teaching about this kind of stuff. One day I might change my mind completely and want to make cheese. I don't know. But whatever it is, right? Whatever it is.
That's going to ruin my cheese making plans if you get into competition with me.
We don't know. I don't even like cheese that much, so I think it's probably okay. But it's funny that you say that. I'd love to know why you said that, but that's quite funny. But it's, you know, when you can be passionate about whatever it is that you're selling. And I sell life, effectively.
Yeah.
I sell a feeling. Someone said to me, they were in one of my programs, and they said, I don't know how to sell my thing because it's an information product. It's not like a tangible thing. It's the same as you, right? What you're selling is effectively an information product. And I was like, well, because you're selling a feeling. And when you sell artwork, when you create artwork, you're selling a feeling.
Yes.
You know, I doubt anyone in your course, I mean, I'm making a rash assumption here, but I'm happy for you to tell me otherwise. But I feel like the kind of people that you will draw in are the kind of people who create because they're passionate about creating and because it brings them joy. Yes. Something that makes them feel alive and connects them to themselves and to source and flow and makes them feel really bloody good and alive. So it's unlikely that any of those people are particularly like creating art so that Hallmark will sign them and they can put their artwork on greetings cards. They're probably more likely to want to have an exhibition of their work somewhere, or to be featured in a certain publication, or, you know, they're going to have different goals maybe to people who just want to be like print machines.
Yeah.
You know, the people in your course are probably a lot more soul and heart led, and they're doing it because they're passionate about it.
Yeah.
And so when you bear that in mind, people are buying their artwork and your artwork and my artwork, which is my coaching, right? They're buying that because it makes them feel something.
Yeah.
And that's all we ever want. People think it's all about this. They think that it's like, oh, I want this thing, and I'm intellectualizing what I want from my life because of what I was taught at school and by, you know, the world around me and by media and blah, blah, blah. And actually, all we ever want is to feel safe, loved, alive, free, secure, connected. Yeah. We all want the same things, really.
Yeah.
And they're all feelings.
And when people, I think when we realize that about selling artwork, that's when it gets easier to sell it, because you're not having to say to somebody, come and look at my artwork and buy it, please. You're saying,
I'm good enough. Look how technical it is.
Aren't I good? Look how good of an artist I am.
It's like, let's take the emotion out of it for a second, which is not something I say a lot, let's be honest. Put the emotion in. And let's take it out for a second. I like creating art. Makes me happy. Good. Let's do that then. Well, this is taking up space in my house, and I'm done with it now, because my part was to create the thing.
Yeah.
So now what do I do with it? I wonder if there's anyone else out there who might want it. I'll just see. Right? It's like when we start to understand, okay, here we go. We're going like the full woo, which is basically what I was saying before about, you know, that person, the podcast, has like manifested you.
Right.
Okay. So if I am looking for some artwork and ain't no fucker selling artwork, what am I going to do? If I am open to receiving artwork and I'm open to finding artwork, and then I start seeing lots of it on my Facebook page, or, you know, I'm in a coffee shop and I see a beautiful picture on the wall or whatever, then I get to buy that artwork if I want it. But if the person didn't put it out there, then I wouldn't know it was there in the first place. But sometimes it's, okay, this is so fucking woo-woo, bear with me. We are just a conduit for what is needed by others as well as what we need ourselves. So when I speak what I speak, a lot of the time, I'm like, it's just words coming out. And then I won't even remember what we've spoken about in this interview, because I'm just like plugged in, and it's just like whatever comes out is coming out. And I trust myself and my connection enough that the words are going to flow. And so I always trust that whoever is listening to this gets exactly what they need from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because without realizing, your community have asked for the things that we've spoken about.
Right.
And by you setting up this interview, you are offering a conduit through which those questions will be answered. So for the people out there, are people, this is what you have to get your head around when you're selling art. There are people out there who are asking for your art. And then you're creating it. Do you ever feel like when you're creating, it's like, oh my God, where did that come from?
Yep.
It's because you're plugged into a collective unconscious.
When you get out of your own way and stop thinking about what you're doing, suddenly you create something and you think, oh, that's good.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, I can't believe I created that. Wow. You know, never would have, that isn't what I planned. But you were open to receiving the inspiration. Well, where did the inspiration come from?
Yeah.
All the people who are asking, all the energy that's being put out into the world for you to plug into and suck through you and out on a canvas. So I know that's super woo-woo, but if you can get your head around that as a possibility, then maybe you just get to take yourself out of the equation and be like, do you know what, I'm going to create because I love it. And there is someone out there who's asking for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to put it out there and trust that they'll see it. Trust that they'll want it. It just kind of takes out that, like, am I good enough? Is this painting good enough? Am I worthy enough? And allows you to just kind of relax.
I love that. That's just brilliant, because then, and
I thought I might have taken you over the edge there.
No,
I love it.
I love it, because even if I don't know if I believe that to be true, it doesn't matter, because if I think that when I'm working, then it also makes it easy for me to tell people it's for sale, because instead of feeling like I'm saying, here's a painting, do you mind if I show it to you and maybe you might like to buy it, I'm thinking I have to find those people who were asking for this. So I'll just put it out there and see if I can find them, see if they find it. And there's a lot of I don't have a hard time selling a course or a book, and I've sold other things in my life as well, but I have a much harder time selling a painting, because it's more personal. It's much more personal. And it feels like it's actually a piece of me, whereas the other stuff, it feels a little bit more removed from my heart and soul. This it almost feels like I've just taken all my clothes off and stood in front of you, which, don't worry, I'm not going to do. But it feels like that. It feels like that. And then you're saying, and will you give me some money for it as well? And I'm coming around to a different way of thinking, but I'm saying that because I know that's how a lot of people feel and how I have felt in the past. So
me too. I felt like that about my coaching.
Yeah.
You know, but when I don't think you can ever really fully take yourself out of the process, because then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. Like, it'd be, you know, I'm aware that I show up in the world in the way that I do. And if any of you follow me online, you'll know I show up a lot. Like, I do a lot of free content because I genuinely just want to help and get message out into the world that life gets to be good and And I feel like yes, I have to be present in order for the message to come through, much like you have to be present in order to create the artwork. So you are still part of the process. You are a really fucking important piece of the puzzle. But rather than getting in your own way about, am I good enough to be this piece of the puzzle? Well, yeah, of course you are. Don't make it about worth. Just make it about, I enjoy doing this. And you know what? Someone's going to enjoy putting this on their wall. And don't make it about worth. Just make it about having fun with the process, and take the emotion out of selling. Just take the emotion out of it. Do your own money mindset work. Spend some money on someone else's art. You know, do whatever you have to do in order to get yourself on board with the idea that money is just an energy exchange. And I've got some, what I desire, beautiful artwork in my house that I've invested in, because even to this day, when I look at this particular print, like, it just makes me feel something. And it felt so exciting. If that person hadn't created that piece of artwork, that would be so sad to me. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it moved me. You know, it was the first piece of artwork I ever bought, and it moved me. And that's what we want. We want to be moved. We want to feel alive through feeling. So see your artwork as a gift. See the fact that someone gets to buy it from you as, this is a gift. I am providing you with something that is going to serve you and make you feel good for the rest of your damn life. And all I'm asking you for is X amount of money. Let's go.
So there will always be people who see the value in a piece of art and who don't see it in another piece of art. And if I think of it the way you said, as in, my people are out there somewhere asking for what I've created, or wanting what I've created, then that, and the other people are not my people, and that's fine, because they're going to go buy something else.
Because there's always more, right? There's an abundance of people.
Yes.
So any point when you feel like, if I don't cater to everybody, that's just scarcity mindset, and that's going to be playing out in all areas of your life. You either believe in an abundant universe or you don't. Simple as that. And when you get yourself in that position of, people can't afford my artwork, you just need to ask yourself, am I going to choose to believe in an abundant universe or not? And then you get to make the choice. And it doesn't mean it won't be scary and a little bit confronting and maybe uncomfortable sometimes, but that's what growth is.
And if you choose that I'm not going to live in that universe, and therefore I don't think people can afford this, I don't think anyone can afford this, I don't think anyone wants it, then that'll be true. Correct?
Correct.
And if you
well, you'll manifest it, right? You'll manifest people who go, oh, I can't afford it.
Yeah. And it's,
I don't get people who say they can't afford my work anymore, and I charge more now than I ever have, because people know, because it's in my messaging a lot, and also because I'm just not available for it. If people get in touch with me, they generally know. I've actually noticed, as I've gone through a recent shift in my mindset and energy, I've noticed people now saying things like, I'm not ready to work with you one-to-one yet, but I'm working towards being ready to work with you one-to-one. And I'm like, cool, okay. Yeah. And there are people obviously who are ready and then they're signing up, but it's the people who previously would have been like, I can't afford it already. The way that they are speaking about that working with me has changed. And so the same will be true for you and for anyone watching this. When you change your relationship with money and your worthiness, and just put worthiness on the shelf and decide to just do it anyway, whether you feel worthy or not, just make the decision, and it feels a little bit scary, just do it anyway, you will be so surprised that the universe will reward you. You take one step, the universe takes 10 in your favor. Happens every single frickin' time.
Well, that seems like a good place to end on, because it seems like a positive note to end on. So this has been amazing. You've been my first non-artist on this series of interviews, but it just brings such an interesting, different perspective. And I really appreciate it, Georgina. I appreciate everything, as you know, but I really appreciate this. And if anybody wants to find you, where do they come to find you?
I'm mainly Facebook, really. My website doesn't even really talk about what I do anymore. I haven't updated it in about 2 years because, as you know, websites are just like meh to me. Like, I don't go to someone's website to check them out anymore, so my ideal client probably doesn't either. Right. So the best place to find me would be Facebook. So just look me up, Georgina Noel, and my group is called Mindset and Life Transformations. So you can find, I've got a free Facebook group, and yeah, it's super engaged in there. So there's lots of
yeah, and you're always on there.
Yeah.
And
Because
also
I love it, right? I love social media. I love social media. A lot of people get a bad rap. I love it. So if you're on there,
yeah, I do too.
You know, you'll get so much from just being in my free stuff, really.
And she's got the cutest little dog that's on there too. So absolutely. Is he there? I can't pick mine up. He's too. Oh, look.
Oh, he's a sweet.
He's a star. Shall we ask Heinz about law of attraction?
He's done it, but this is a master manifester right here. He gets whatever he wants, whenever he wants it. Hey, Baba.
That is such a cute dog. All right. Well, thank you very much, Georgina.
Thank you.